Blood drips in the silence. Shadows move across the stone walls. A voice whispers, steady but full of dread. Blood calls to blood, and when it does, nothing can stop what is coming. The screen flickers with fast flashes, fire in the night, eyes wide with fear, and a hand reaching out, stained red. Then the music slams in, sharp and heavy, pulling the audience straight into the storm of episode 9. The trailer opens in near darkness. A single torch burns, its flame dancing against the walls of an old fortress. The camera lingers on the flame for a moment before a drop of blood falls onto the stone floor beneath it. The sound echoes louder than it should, making the silence that follows feel even heavier. Then from the shadows a voice breaks through. It is not angry, not loud, but calm, cold and dangerous. Every bond is tested. Every secret bleeds. And when blood calls to blood, the truth cannot be hidden. The scene cuts sharply. A figure walks alone through a deserted corridor. Their footsteps are slow, heavy, echoing against the cold stone. We never see their face and only their hands, their cloak dragging, and the way their shadow stretches across the wall. Suddenly another shadow joins them, moving in the opposite direction. They stop. The silence between them feels like a battle in itself. Quick flashes follow, a sword being pulled free. A woman's eyes filled with both rage and sorrow. A closed door rattling under fists pounding from the other side, and a voice shouting in the distance, "You are my blood, but even blood can betray." The music rises now, deep drums echoing like a war march. The visuals shift to wider shots. A battlefield at dusk, armor glinting with blood, smoke rolling across the horizon. Figures clash in the distance, but we never see them clearly. The faces are hidden, blurred by fire and shadow, so the audience can only imagine the pain, the anger, and the betrayal driving each strike. As the drums continue, the narration grows stronger. Trust breaks like glass. Promises turn to ash, and in the end, only blood remains. The screen cuts to black for a beat, just long enough to let the silence sink in. Then, a heartbeat sound begins. Slow, heavy, loud. Each beat is followed by another flash of imagery, a dagger slipping from someone's bloody hand, a child's doll lying in the mud, a crown falling to the ground, shattering into pieces. The heartbeat grows faster, the images cut quicker. The tension is unbearable now. And then, just as the sound reaches its peak, silence. A final whisper carries across the silence. "The blood you spill will return to you." The screen glows red as the title appears. Blood of My Blood, Episode 9. First look, the section ends here, leaving the audience shaken, curious, and desperate for what comes next. The screen opens with the sound of heavy rain. Drops fall against stone rooftops, sliding down iron gates, mixing with something darker. Blood. The camera slowly tilts upward, revealing a figure standing at the edge of a cliff. Their cloak whips in the wind, their hands clenched tightly around a blade. We do not see their face, only the outline of their body against the storm. A voice, broken but firm, speaks over the storm. "I swore to protect them, even if it cost me my life. But what if the threat comes from my own blood?" The words echo as the scene shifts. The screen flickers to glimpses of the characters we've followed until now. Not clear, not steady, but flashes, as if stolen from someone's memory. One figure kneels in prayer, their hands shaking. Another sharp image, a man slamming his fist against a table, shattering a cup. Then a child stares through bars of a cage, silent, their eyes cold and unblinking. The music is low here, strings humming with unease. Every image feels heavier than the last. Suddenly, the silence breaks with a scream. A figure runs through the rain, clutching a torch, their voice cracking. "They've betrayed us. All of them." The torch falls, fire spilling onto the ground, flames spreading through the mud. The narration grows sharper now. Trust is a dangerous weapon. It cuts deeper than any blade. And when loyalty breaks, nothing can hold back the war that follows. The camera cuts quickly through shadows. A dagger hidden beneath a sleeve. A hand clutching a letter sealed with crimson wax. Two figures whispering in secret, their voices trembling as if the walls themselves might betray them. A soldier weeping quietly while tying a bandage around his arm, knowing he will fight again before dawn. The tempo rises. The storm grows louder. Lightning splits the sky, revealing for a moment the battlefield waiting below. Thousands of soldiers standing silent in the rain. Shields raised, spears pointed forward, each one holding their breath. The screen cuts back to the cloaked figure on the cliff. This time the camera draws closer. Their blade gleams as they raise it, pressing the edge gently against their own palm. Blood drips mixing with the rain. A voiceover whispers, colder now. In the end, the blood you share may be the blood you spill. The scene grows frantic. Images flash one after another. A pair of hands locking a heavy door from the inside. Chains breaking apart in the dark. A masked figure standing at the center of firelight. Eyes, dozens of eyes, staring through the darkness, unblinking, watching. The music builds to a scream of strings, and just before it breaks, everything falls silent again. A single heartbeat returns, louder than before. Pounding into the silence, the screen fades to black, and then words appear across the darkness in bright, burning red. Episode 9, Trust is Broken. The section closes here, leaving the audience stunned and uneasy, preparing them for the heavier storm in the next act. The first sound is not music. It is the clash of steel, sudden, sharp, echoing into darkness. Sparks fly in the shadows as blades collide, but we never see the fighters fully. Only fragments in the curve of an arm, the flash of steel, the heavy breath between strikes. A voice cuts through the noise. Every war begins with a choice, but by the time the blade is raised, the choice is gone. The screen snaps to black, then floods with images. Rapid, violent. A rider charges through fire, cloak whipping behind. Arrows streak across the sky, glowing red as they fall. A pair of hands clutch one another, one desperate, the other cold. A face half lit in shadow whispers, "This will end in blood." The music bursts alive, drums pounding like war itself, joined by a chorus that sounds more like a cry than a song. Each beat slams against the screen, driving the images harder, faster. The narration returns, louder now. The bonds of blood are chains. Some bind you, some break you, and some drag you into war. The camera sweeps across a battlefield at dawn. Mist clings to the ground, and through it figures stand motionless. Soldiers, brothers, enemies. They face one another in silence, waiting. The stillness is almost worse than the battle itself. Then lightning splits the sky and the first scream is heard. Chaos. The scene fractures into madness. Shields splinter. Fire spreads across the tents. Horses rear in panic as soldiers fall beneath them. A hand grips a crown, then drops it into the mud. The music grows frantic, layered with voices shouting, crying, and breaking. Yet through it all, one line repeats, whispered over and over. Blood calls to blood. Blood calls to blood. Suddenly, the image is slow. The storm of war is replaced by silence. A single figure walks through the carnage. Their boots step over fallen bodies. Their hand drags a blade across the ground, leaving a red trail behind. The camera rises slowly, but just before the face is revealed, the screen cuts to black. A voice, calm and merciless, speaks into the void. Do not trust what bleeds with you. It will bleed you dry. The drums return, heavier than before, each strike like thunder. The images flash again, faster, sharper, almost overwhelming. A hand slamming shut a coffin lid. Eyes wide in terror, staring at something we cannot see. A torch dropped into oil, flames racing outward. A masked figure lifting their sword to the sky. The screen shudders with the force of the music, then freezes. Silence falls once more. Across the black screen, words burn into view, letter by letter. Episode 9. The reckoning begins. The beat of a single drum echoes as the letters fade, leaving only darkness. The screen is black. Nothing moves. Nothing speaks. Only the faint sound of a heartbeat, slow and steady, breaking the silence. Then a whisper slides in, almost too soft to hear. In the dark, every secret bleeds. A faint light flickers on, revealing a single candle. Its flame trembles as if afraid. The camera pushes closer, closer, and until the flame suddenly extinguishes. Darkness swallows everything again. The silence is shattered by a scream. Not long, not loud, but cut short, like a breath stolen away. The image that follows is brief, terrifying. A hand pressed against glass, smearing blood as it slides down. The hand falls. The screen empties. The voice returns, lower now, heavy with finality. What you've hidden will rise. What you've broken will burn. And what you've killed will come back for you. The music swells, but it is not the war drums anymore. It is a low, throbbing hum, joined by sharp notes like knives scraping against stone. With each pulse, the screen shows fractured glimpses. A woman clutching her chest, blood on her lips. A shadowed figure dragging a blade across a table. A pair of eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. A door slowly creaking open, light spilling out, but no one inside. The pace quickens. Each cut is sharper, faster, almost dizzying. Faces flash by but vanish before we can know them. Cries echo, weapons clash, the storm rises again. Yet through all the chaos, one whisper keeps repeating. Blood of my blood. Blood of my blood. Then, silence. A lone figure stands in the center of the battlefield. Bodies lie scattered around, smoke curling into the air. The figure is faceless, their cloak torn, their hand covered in blood. Slowly, they raise their hand to the sky, letting the blood drip down their arm. The voiceover steady, unshakable. In the end, there will be no heroes. No saviors, only blood. The camera zooms closer and closer until the screen is consumed by red. For a heartbeat, it seems still. And then, a single eye opens in the red, staring directly at the audience. The music cuts. A whisper follows, colder than all that came before. You are not ready for what comes next. The screen slams to black, and in burning letters across the darkness, Blood of My Blood, Episode 9, First Look, coming soon. The letters flicker as if bleeding before they fade into silence. The trailer ends. The screen remains black for a long moment. Viewers think it is over. The silence holds, until the faint sound of a drip begins, one drop, then another, then another. Slowly the screen fades in. A stone floor, wet with blood. The camera pans upward, but the room is empty. No bodies, no figures, just the aftermath. A table overturned. A chair broken. A single chain swinging gently as if something had just been released. A whisper crawls into the silence. The blood you bury does not stay buried. The camera shifts to a long, narrow hallway lit by torches. At the far end, a figure stands. Their face is hidden in shadow. The fire behind them flickers wildly, but the figure does not move. They only watch. The hum of low music begins again, this time softer, almost hypnotic. It builds with each image. A raven perched on a shattered crown. A dagger standing upright in the dirt, quivering as if struck into the earth moments ago. A child's voice laughing faintly, echoing in an empty corridor. The screen flickers. Once, twice, like the reel itself is breaking. Each flicker reveals something darker. Hands reaching from the shadows, eyes glowing faintly. A mouth whispering words too fast to understand. The heartbeat sound returns, but slower now, heavier, like the last beats of something dying. The figure at the end of the hallway finally takes a step forward. The torches dim as they move one by one until only darkness remains. The screen fills with shadow, and then a single red symbol burns across the black. A sigil shaped like a twisted crown, dripping with blood. The narration whispers once more. The words drawn out like a curse, blood of my blood, cannot be undone. The screen fades to silence, but just as the audience believes it's finished, a final sharp sound cuts through. The gasp of someone waking from a nightmare. The image that flashes for less than a second, a pair of eyes snapping open, wide and furious. Then, nothing. Across the empty black, faint text flickers, almost hidden, as if not meant to be seen. Episode 9. You cannot escape blood. The letters vanish before they fully settle, leaving viewers with only silence and questions. The trailer truly ends. The screen is black. For a full 5 seconds, nothing happens. Then faint static creeps in. Not music, not ambience, but the crackle of something broken, like an old recording fighting to be heard. Through the static, a voice begins. It is not the smooth, commanding narration of before. It is shaky, fragmented, as though spoken by someone barely alive. Blood cannot forget. The sound distorts, cutting in and out. Each word is drawn, stretched like a message not meant to reach us. The screen flickers white, then black, then white again. In those flickers, glimpses appear. A pale hand clawing at dirt. Teeth clenched in silent rage. A symbol carved into flesh glowing faintly red. Then silence returns. The camera fades in on a single door, tall, wooden, ancient. It sits in the middle of a dark room with no walls, no ceiling, no floor. Just the door standing alone. A slow creak begins as the door opens by itself. Behind it, nothing but blinding white light. From inside the light, faint whispers rise. Dozens of voices, hundreds, overlapping, crying, chanting the same words, blood of my blood, blood of my blood. The camera pushes closer. The light grows harsher, overwhelming until the screen is almost white. Just before the brightness consumes everything, a shadow moves across the threshold. Someone or something is standing inside. The screen cuts sharply to black, but the whispers continue. Louder now, closer, surrounding the audience. They do not come from the screen anymore, and they feel like they are inside the room. Blood of my blood. Blood of my blood. Blood of my blood. The black screen begins to pulse red in time with the chanting. With each pulse, quick flashes appear. A crown sinking into fire. Chains snapping apart. Eyes opening in total darkness. A smile, twisted, cruel, dripping blood. The chanting breaks suddenly into silence. A single voice remains, calm, cold, unstoppable. You are theirs now. The screen shatters like glass. Red fragments flying outward, and for a heartbeat, the audience sees their own reflection staring back. Then the fragments fall away, leaving nothing. Words burn across the empty black episode 9. Blood remembers. The letters bleed down the screen before fading into silence.